Hello everyone, Flying Scotsman 4472, and by God it's been forever. So, today I'm back with another review, and today's review is sadly on this. Thomas Wood James, 'cause out with quality and in with this. So, if you're asking why I bought this, I'll explain it in the end of the video, or in an update video if I feel it. Depends on what I feel like. Either way. So let's take a look at the box. First in the corner, you've got Thomas Wood, Thomas and Friends Wood, lovely name. On the side here, you've got the name James. Got a picture of him, and then on the back is just some legal stuff. Oh, looks like they got no bios anymore. Well then, whatever. So now let's get this open. I bought two, so I already have one. So let's get right into this thing. As you can see, this looks way worse than some of my other models. Because unlike with Merlin, who was an original character, so this is the first time we've really seen him, so we don't have a wooden railway model to compare to him, or Rosie, who has a completely new paint job, or Harvey, whose crane covered most of his unpainted parts. This thing is an original character that we have another better model to compare to, as well as just really everything else. So let's get right into the detail. On James's body, there are several decals printed on. They are very well detailed, just like with Merlin and all the other engines who had decals. So that is one plus. The face is not bad, although I really prefer their original faces, even their ones from 2017. He has the standard wooden railway black wheels, and then on the bottom he has James engraved into him. On the back he's got nothing, and on the top you can see the detailing from the decals, as well as his whistle, which is just a piece of wood. And of course, like all the other wood range, he has no dome. His tender here is just a block, just like Merlin's tender. While Merlin, because his tender was more shaped blockish anyways, it didn't really matter. With James's tender, it's a bit worse, because we know how this looks, and we know the wooden railway can do tenders like this. So it was kind of stupid. Again, it has the Thomas Wooden Railway black wheels, and the decals are fairly nice on this one too. Then you've got the printed coal on the top, which has a texture to it. So that's James. Now time to get into the nitty-gritty stuff by comparing it to its former model. Now here's my James. This is the one that I've used every single piece of thing that I've ever had to use James for. As you can see, it's a clearly superior model, although mine I believe is factory error, as the face is apparently a Thomas face and not a James face. Although they looked fairly similar back in 2003, so I really don't care. But let's just go into the comparisons. First, let's start with the main body. As you can see here, this one captures the look of James much more because it has a more rounded shape, as well as it's fully painted and has actual gold lining. It also has the handrail and the dome where it's supposed to be. The one part it doesn't have that the newer one doesn't is a whistle. But even still, that was later added onto the 2013 model, so I guess it can't really complain. Then also the base is black, and, well, compared to the Thomas Wood one, it's actually bigger. Thomas Wood models were made smaller. So compared to James, it's an even smaller model than it should be. If you can see that there. And then if you look at the Thomas Wood detail, it's a much more blocky locomotive with the little attempt to make the pieces here, which I wouldn't be so complaining about it if they did on this model, if they actually made them round pieces. I wouldn't even mind if they were plastic because they'd be extra detail. I'm joking. They would need to be wood. But I wish they could have carved them out. But knowing that this is Mattel, of course they didn't do that. Also, the firebox, because it's molded into the brick piece, looks oddly shaped, and also there are multiple sections meaning that all the former gold lining isn't there, as well as there isn't 3 stripes, and the dome decal is on the front and not on the back, as well as it just isn't gold. There is no lining, as well as the bottom is wood. The only part that this one has better than the Thomas Wooden Railway models is that it has an engraved name, and even still, that's not that big of a plus. The face is not that personally the best. I mean, granted, this is a knockoff, or this is a factory error, so I can't really complain about this one, but yeah, even the later versions, and really this one didn't really have the best face, but the original ones and the later 2013 versions both had better faces. Now let's get on to the tenders, the least important part of the models, but still pretty important. The tender on the James model, as my Wooden Railway James model, is clearly superior. It also is, again, bigger than the tender used in the Thomas Wood models. Here, for example. It also is carved in the correct shape that James's tender is, and is fully painted with crisp detail as well as actual plastic coal. This is just a brick, as I said, with separate wooden sections, not fully painted, and doesn't even have all the decals, and isn't even the correct shape. And while I don't really mind the fact of not having actual coal there, the detail isn't the best. So again, the Thomas Wooden Railway tender is again superior. I'm not surprised with this because, well, Thomas Wood is not the best line. The only reason why I was buying these is for a special project later in the future. Meanwhile, the only reason why I'd buy any of the newer models was so that I could complete my Flying Scotsman collection to buy the Thomas Wood Flying Scotsman, and then later the 2013 version. But these models aren't really the best. I've only planned to collect a few of them, and not many of them. But, yeah, if you're wondering the reason why I bought 2, though, it's not so that I can keep one in the package for when Thomas Wood gets canceled. That might be something that I do when they're all on clearance. The thing that I'm planning to do with these models is, well, turn them into these characters. Or these. Yes, remember this thing? Yeah. I'm planning to turn this into this. Because I am now rebooting this series as a Wooden Railway series. If you're wondering why, it's because I've decided to extend the series past the original season amount that I have. I also have way more characters planned, and I just generally, now that I've thought about it, don't have the space to hold a G-Gauge series and G-Gauge sets. Doing it in Wooden Railway would allow me to build way bigger sets, as well as it would also allow me to have more characters, and also trees and bushes and other things like that would be easily accessible, because there aren't many things like that made for Gauge 1 anymore, and I don't have the time to make all of those. This is why I'm redoing the series, and currently I bought 2 of these, one for a character later on, and one for a character to become him. So yes, wait for the new wooden version of the American British Railway series. It'll still be the same series, it'll just be a different variation, I guess. It will be a different thing, but it will still be the same series with the same characters, and I will be completing it. And unfortunately, the 3rd episode that I created is right now lost, as I can't seem to find the footage. But if I do find it, I will upload it to YouTube. So, yes. Thank you for watching, and this is Flying Scotsman 4472 saying goodbye, everyone.